Ladies and gentlemen, the world of professional wrestling never stops, and welcome to another ridiculous report. Chris Jericho is reportedly considering a return to WWE, at least according to his Instagram account. He liked to post on Instagram today suggesting that he could return to WWE following the expiration of his AEW contract. Jericho has been a staple in All Elite Wrestling since the inception of the company. He was the inaugural AEW World Champion. He defeated Hangman Page at All Out 2019 to win the title. Had an epic rivalry with Cody Rhodes as well. He's a huge part of AEW. He was the leader of the Inner Circle, then the Jericho Appreciation Society, and he's the ROH champion as they tried to get a TV deal for our ROH, and that didn't work out, and he lost that title to Bandito at Dynasty 2025 and then disappeared. He also was the leader of the Learning Tree with Big Bill and Brian Keith. All of these factions, Tony Khan had huge plans for Chris Jericho. He was the biggest star in the company for a while, and then fans got sick of him. They just totally got sick of him, myself included. I was tired of seeing him as a comedy act, the high guys waving in the stupid Learning Tree. I hated the Learning Tree, everything about it. I really enjoyed Inner Circle. I thought Jericho Appreciation Society was mocking sports entertainment, but this was after Vince McMahon had already resigned. So they were just mocking a product that didn't exist anymore. I thought the Jericho Appreciation Society, the entire concept of the faction and him claiming he's a sports entertainer was stupid. But other than that, you know, he's had a good run in AEW. He had that weird mimosa stupid match with Orange Cassidy. He's had some dumb stuff in AEW as well. I enjoyed his singing with MJF during their rivalry. A lot of people hated it. I thought it was funny. It's wrestling. It doesn't have to be that serious. But he hasn't been with WWE since 2018. He's 54 years old. His contract's up and at the end of the year pretty much. So if he wanted to go back to WWE, I'm assuming the door is open. They would love to have him back. As for Tony Khan, I'm sure he's going to try to do everything in his power to keep Chris Jericho in the company. I would like to see him return to WWE. I don't know what else there is for Jericho to do in AEW besides like a backstage role. I don't want to see him as AEW World Champion again. If he goes back to WWE, get that Legend retirement tour, and he deserves that. For all the goofy shit he's done in AEW, he's done a lot of great stuff in AEW as well. And he's done a ton of great stuff throughout his career in WWE, WCW, everywhere. He's just he's one of the best wrestlers of all time, regardless of his current gimmick or the ROH championship reign and how Tony Khan has booked him. He still remains one of the best of all time. And if he went back to WWE, it would be a huge pop. Maybe reignite his rivalry with Kevin Owens when he returns next year. That would be really entertaining to me. I think his time in AEW, he did a ton for that company. He did so much for that company. I rag on him a ton for what he's been doing the past couple years in AEW, but when that company launched, he was, you know, we talked about pillars. He was one of the pillars of AEW. He was instrumental in bringing attention to them before CM Punk, before Cody Rhodes became Cody Rhodes. Jericho was a huge deal for AEW. Him signing with AEW legitimized the company, showing up at that press conference in Jacksonville. It was huge. But, you know, 7 years later, that time has come and gone, and I don't even know how big of a reaction you would get when he returns to AEW, but you have him return to WWE. It would be a really good, feel-good moment for him, get that Hall of Fame induction. I know he says he doesn't care about it, but maybe as he's getting older, maybe he realizes, shit, I should probably just go back and finish my career in WWE, and then, hell, he could still return to AEW in a backstage role after that run. But I think as a wrestling fan, I would really like to see Jericho end his career in WWE, but if he decides to end it in AEW, that would make sense too. He's been there since the company launched. But Jericho feeding the rumors, feeding the dirt sheets today by liking a post on Instagram suggesting that he could return to WWE. It's been reported that WWE is considering counter-programming All Out in Toronto on September 20th with an unannounced PLE. I suggested probably Bad Blood makes a return to, combat AEW's pay-per-view. Well, one of the rumored matches is Brock Lesnar versus John Cena. The Beast returned at SummerSlam after John Cena lost the title to Cody Rhodes, attacked Cena, hit him with an F5. They're rumored to have a last man standing match at that PLE on September 20th. This is from Boozer Wrestling. He didn't mention the PLE, but I'm assuming that's the date. That's when they're considering it, but that's unknown. That's just speculation. But so John Cena versus Brock Lesnar in a last man standing match. It sounds fun. Would have been better like a decade ago, but, you know, it makes sense. Lesnar return as one of Cena's final opponents, and it'll be interesting. I'm going to watch All Out over that match. I'll just say that now. Karrion Kross lost to Sami Zayn at SummerSlam 2025, and that reportedly was his final match in WWE. He went on Ariel Helwani's podcast, said he's not doing a work, he's not in character, spilled the beans on his rant at WrestleMania and that Triple H didn't know about it somehow, and he had to explain to him that it was a work, which is crazy to me. I don't understand that lack of communication, but it kind of explains why he's not there anymore to me. But Karrion Kross is incredibly over. I hope WWE brings him back, but for AEW's sake, I hope they bring him in as well as the guy that Triple H let go, have him try to tear down WWE from AEW. Why not? But one WWE Hall of Famer who's appeared on AEW Dynamite a few times, Eric Bischoff, former WCW promoter, on his 83 Weeks podcast, said he didn't want to see Karrion Kross go to AEW and suggested that he go to TNA. I hope he ends up in TNA. TNA has got some shit going on. They're making good moves. Their audience is growing. I said it here a month or two ago. They're one major TV deal away from becoming the number 2 wrestling promotion in the country, in the world for that matter. If I had to bet money, I bet we see him in TNA first. TNA has a partnership with WWE. That would be underwhelming to me. If Karrion Kross is going to leave WWE, if there's really an issue, don't go to a company they're partnered with unless you really want to get back to WWE, which he kind of made it known during his interview with Helwani. He wants to continue the conversations with WWE and also admitted that AEW thinks the situation is a work and hasn't contacted him. So TNA would make sense if WWE and Triple H for some reason just can't figure out what to do with Karrion Kross and Scarlett on the main roster. Apparently they didn't even offer Scarlett Boudreaux a contract. I don't understand what's going on there. We already saw Karrion Kross without Scarlett with Vince McMahon, and that sucked ass. So I don't know why Triple H would offer Karrion Kross a contract but not Scarlett. Who knows if Kross is 100% being truthful? We'll see. Time will tell. But Eric Bischoff wants him in TNA. If he's not returning to WWE, I don't want to see him in TNA. I want to see him in AEW throwing shots at WWE. That's entertaining. And finally, some good news for All Elite Wrestling to end this show. Kyle Fletcher and Hook have re-signed long-term deals with AEW. This is according to Fightful Select. This is huge. I think Kyle Fletcher has the potential to be one of the biggest stars in the industry if they book him right. Hook, there were rumors that Hook was considering leaving last year, I remember. And then he just constantly disappears from AEW television, and he doesn't dress like a star. I'm being wildly judgmental here, but he doesn't look like a star half the time. Sometimes he'll show up in camo pants and a sweatshirt, and it's like, what are you doing? But Hook and Kyle Fletcher both have incredibly bright futures. I think if AEW can book them correctly, come up with storylines, Kyle Fletcher, I think, has a much brighter future than Hook, but Hook has that connection with the fans. They teased his return with the Spotlight recently. So that's good news for AEW. These are young stars that they keep under contract. They have to just continue to sign their young guys and build around them. I think that just keeping stars like Kyle Fletcher and Hook, who now apparently wants to be there, but I've never heard anything about Kyle Fletcher wanting to be in WWE, wanting to go elsewhere. So he's the key. He is a future AEW world champion, in my opinion, multiple times over. He should have legendary rivalries with Will Ospreay and anyone on the roster. Kyle Fletcher has the physique, the look. He can cut promos. He's the total package in AEW to me. I'm glad they locked down Kyle Fletcher long-term. They need someone like that to build around. Well, I mean, they have Will Ospreay. They have infinite talent on that roster. I'm just talking about a young, stalwart, stud Kyle Fletcher. I believe in Kyle Fletcher, and I think he could help bring AEW back to prominence if booked correctly. That's the caveat for everything. But that is it for this episode of The Ridiculous Report. Thank you so much for watching, and if you have not subscribed, please do so.